So today, Wednesday, June 11th, it is day 21 of the Diddy trial. It is supposed to start today, a little bit later than usual. It's going to start at 1 p.m. But what I want to do, since we've got some time, obviously, before this trial actually starts and then the new coverage starts to come out, I want to go back to what I was doing in yesterday, covering day 20 and testimony from Jane, victim number 2, victim number 2, Jane. Jane, we're not going to say Daphne, we're going to say Jane, victim 2. The opportunist, the gold digger, which is what I call her. So we're back to a nice pot of French press coffee here. Last night it was Scotch whiskey, but we're going to get into it here because I want to continue with, on X, there is a account under Gen Just Law, that's Gen Just Law, which does sort of a summary of the timeline of events and the cross-examination from Tenny Garagos yesterday with Jane, victim number 2. And it summarizes everything pretty nice and succinctly. So I want to go through that. I went through it. If you didn't see that video, look for my original video on that which came out last night, and watch that one. And where I'll comment and talk about this scenario with this woman's testimony. But I want to get into a few things here because apparently there were NBA nights of Jordan, Kobe, and Shaq during these hotel nights, and I found that interesting. And also, you've probably heard about the famous exchange between Tenny Garagos and Jane, victim number 2, about the Bottega Vet bag and Chanel and all these things. And I want to get into that because I think that's even more telling about this woman. But let's do that now. Welcome, time to talk. Subscribe if you've not subscribed yet. Let's get right into it. Let's do a screen share and check out this X account. All right, so I'm going to start right here. I'm going to just comment on some of this stuff. We'll go through it. It won't be as long as last night, but I will get through it. We're going to start here. The trifecta lineup: Kobe, Jordan, and O'Neal. Jane said Diddy used NBA nicknames during freak-offs with one male escort named Paul. Well, of course he used NBA nicknames, right? It's interesting, though, he used Jordan. You see, he didn't use LeBron. He didn't use LeBron James. He used Jordan. That answers all the questions right there. It puts it all to rest about who the actual GOAT is. Unquestionably Jordan, and even Diddy knows that. All right? Diddy was Jordan. Jane was Kobe. Paul was Shaq. He called them the trifecta. This is hilarious. Terry Garagos leaned into the dynamic, pressing Jane on whether there was affection between her and Paul. Jane replied carefully, "Given my circumstances, if I had to do what I had to do, at least there was somebody who had a warm energy about them." So she liked Paul, obviously, right? It's like, well, since I gotta be a freak, I might as well get someone I like freaking with, right? That's essentially what she's saying. Friendly for now, cross-started cordial. So apparently the way Tenny Garagos is doing this cross-examination, it's not anything aggressive or, it's more of a girl-to-girl kind of talk kind of thing. So Jane and Tenny Garagos smiled and even chuckled at times. They know each other. Jane said she met with Diddy's lawyers multiple times after his arrest. She even first disclosed post-assault freak-off to one of his attorneys. But with Cross set to continue through Thursday, it's unclear if Garagos will stay friendly. Let's just see. Let's continue with this now. Back on the bench. Today's session will be wrapped by 3 p.m. Blah, blah, blah. Let's get through this. Don't tell Quorum. Jane testified Diddy didn't want Christina Quorum, KK, to know when he partied. She disapproved and pushed him to focus on business. Jane also said staff delivered cash to hotel rooms, but never saw what was happening inside. She didn't think Quorum knew about the freak-offs. On the alleged S-tape threat, Jane said she was comforted after confiding in Quorum. Quote, "He gave me space after that. I believe she made sure of it." Let's continue. Text freak-offs with Sly. Undercrossed, Tenny Garagos read Jane's Halloween 2021 text. Jane told Diddy she wanted to see him. He replied he had a rough day and wanted her to lead tonight. She responded, "They should freshen up, have a drink, and quote, see where the night takes us." Diddy said he didn't feel like being around people, but Jane confirmed they had a hotel night afterwards anyway. All right, let's get into more with the text and freak-offs and Sly. The next day, Jane texted performer Sly asking for explicit videos at Diddy's request, she said. A few days later, she texted Sly again, "I'll organize." Jane testified she and Diddy were trying to figure out if and when they would bring Sly in for another night. From modeling to explicit text, we're moving on now. Tenny Garagos briefly asked Jane about her modeling career, then shifted straight into a series of sexually explicit texts between Jane, Diddy, and adult performer Cabral. The only option I was given. Garagos showed the jury November 2021 text between Diddy and Jane making plans to meet. Diddy told her to be explicit, prompting Jane to send graphic messages about sex acts involving him and an entertainer. She and Garagos read some of those texts aloud. Jane said she used explicit language because, quote, "that's what he wanted. He liked when I talk dirty, girl." That's pretty much what that was, right? The only option I was given. After exchanging sexual fantasy texts, Diddy asked what Jane wanted. She replied, quote, "spend time with my favorite person." He offered to come by with an entertainer. "I'm bringing somebody with me, girl. We're going to get it in." Jane testified she said yes because it was the only way to see him. Quote, "that was the only option I was given, and I wanted to see my lover." You could have just said no altogether, right? Which moves to the continuing theme that I am trying to put forth here, which is that you had the option to just like back out of all this and go back to wherever your baby daddy was or wherever new rapper you were going to jump on and exploit for money. Like, seriously, you could have gotten out of this. I have not yet seen any evidence or heard any evidence of like serious abuse where you were threatened for your life and you couldn't go anywhere. It's nonsense. Let's continue. Oh, I want to sit on your face. Steamy sex between Diddy and Jane were read out loud in court by Jane and defense attorney Tenny Garagos. It echoed a move the defense pulled earlier with Cassie, weaponizing sexual tone to challenge victim framing. Right. Essentially, if you read the text and you've got a woman who's organizing things and putting things out there saying, you know, I just want it to be hot and heavy. What did Cassie say? I want it to be uncontrollable. I love our freak off nights. Yeah, you're just saying these things for no reason? Oh, okay. Just to please Diddy? In a deadpan, I want to sit on your face. In a deadpan legal tone, Garagos read lines like, quote, "I want to sit on your face," quote. The courtroom atmosphere turned tense and awkward, but the tactic was deliberate. Make the jury uncomfortable enough to question credibility. "I want to sit on your face." Even emojis weren't spared. Garagos explained the sexual connotation of the water drops emoji, step by step with the jury watching. This wasn't just about shock. It was strategic courtroom theater. Legal analysis, fantasy, and consent. The defense is drilling down on Jane's explicit text and voice notes, painting her, quote, fantasy talk, end quote, as voluntary sexual participation, which it was. Not my idea. Some sext Jane sent to Diddy described what she would do to the S workers hired for these freak-offs. But she told the jury, quote, "these were things that wouldn't have occurred to me to do," end quote. She said she gave Diddy options, messaging him what he wanted to hear, not what she actually desired. You know, I gotta push back on. So it's kind of like saying, well, normally, I'm not really into strawberry juice and papaya and mango juice during my sessions with my lady. I'm not really into that stuff, but I kind of know that she likes fruit to be in the mix. She likes to, lemon juice sprayed on her nipples or something along those lines, or she likes papaya and mango to be squeezed on her while I'm going down. Yeah, it's not normally my thing, but I was coming up with things that I figured she would like, and I know she's into this stuff, so that's why I'm doing it. It's not force or coercion. It's pleasure. It's part of the arousal process. It's part of the exchange. And when you're having relations with somebody that you care about, somebody that you're trying to please, these kind of things that you do or don't do. Now, mind you, like I've said before, if my lady was like, "Hey, do you mind taking a tube of butter and stick it in your backside?" I'd probably say no. I'd be like, "All right, now you've gone too far. I don't mind the mango and the juices and stuff and dripping, juices, all that. That's fine, but I don't want anything in me, and I'm not with that stuff." And I would have pushed back. Period. Doesn't make a difference how angry she got. So, this idea that these things this wouldn't have occurred to me to do. Yeah, okay. I'm agreeable here. Quote, courtroom tension rose as Geragos read incredibly crude sext Jane had sent to Diddy. She looked visibly uncomfortable. Before answering, Jane clarified, quote, I am in 2021 really madly in love and wanting to please him and appease him. I'm agreeable here, end quote. The defense leaned on the language. Yeah, you were madly in love with the money and with the lifestyle and everything you had and your fancy crib and the lifestyle that was afforded to you through this man. And of course, so you were pretty much willing to do whatever was necessary to keep that going. There's no crime in that on her part. I'm not, let's be clear. When I make the statements I make about Jane, I'm victim number 2. When I make these statements about her being a gold digger or an opportunist, I'm not judging her. Do what you got to do, girl. Handle your business. I'm not judging somebody, a S worker, essentially, it's pretty much what she was. I'm not judging her for her lifestyle choices or how she makes her money in her bag. Like that's not what this is about. I'm just pointing out that that's what it is. That is what it is. Let's not get it twisted. Okay, let's not get it twisted. Jane told the court she offered to buy, quote, black matrix underwear to please Diddy. Geragos asked if she knew that kind of talk turned him on, and she replied yes, but made clear it wasn't real intimacy. It was what he expected. Personally, she's saying she would have bought red matrix, but he liked black, so that's what she did. Him and Paul. Jane said Diddy rarely offered one-on-one time. Quote, the option he's giving me is him and Paul, she testified. She only said yes because she wanted to see him. Quote, meeting with an escort was my only option. I wanted to see my lover. So basically, again, you've known for a long period of time now that this is how this man gets down. This is what turns him on. This is what your SEX life is going to be like if you continue to get with this dude. Yet you continue to go through it because you're like, all right, well, if that's what he's into, so be it. I got to get banged out by a couple dudes? No problem. As long as I get the bags and as long as I get the money and get all those. So we'll get to the bags later. We'll get to that in a second. All right. S parties and options. In later messages, Jane brought up S parties. Sex parties, orgies. When asked why, she testified, quote, Sean was telling me about sex parties and said we should go to one. I was giving him options, end quote. Fantasy talk was a survival tactic, not desire. That's a summary of what she didn't say that. That's what they're summarizing about her, which is, again, nonsense. Grand finale, escort plan. Jane and Diddy discussed hiring escorts like Don and Cabral. She reminded him he wanted to, quote, save Cabral for a grand finale once his album dropped. She called it a showstopper, big boom, game over situation, end quote. Last vision was Don and Sly. The jury heard voice messages from November 22nd, 2021. Diddy told Jane she could, quote, set something up, referencing their last vision, a freak off with escorts, Don and Sly. Jane replied she thought he wanted to save that for a grand finale once his album was done. Blank. Let's see. I was making excuses. Jane testified she was trying to avoid setting it up. Her words, quote, I was trying to make excuses to get out of this thing that he's encouraging for me to set up. End quote. Then she saw on social media that Diddy was with another woman. Oh, man, this is where it gets bad. You got her a Chanel bag? After seeing another woman with Diddy online, Jane sent him a tense message. Quote, I thought you just wanted to see me, but wanted a Don and Sly moment within that time. Hotel vibes, end quote. Prosecutors showed text where she called out the pressure while he was spoiling someone else. Ooh, Diddy done got himself in trouble because he got another. Again, this is side chick drama is what this really is, right? She wanted to be the upfront chick and she's a side chick. That's what this comes down to. Even when I gave in, Jane testified she was hurt. Quote, it bothered me. I didn't get that even when I gave into the S with strangers. No Chanel bag, no getaway trips, just freak offs and being sidelined. Listen to the quote. Listen to her own words. It bothered me. I didn't get that even when I gave into the S and with strangers. I was doing all that because I thought I was going to get something out of it. I was doing all of that D, and it was allowing all that D to go through me because I thought I was going to get something out of it. That's how that translates. Again, go to Google Translate, go to Chat GPT, go to Claude, and put in that line that came out of her own goddamn mouth. And what she's essentially saying is, I was expecting much more for all the stuff that I've been doing. That's what she said. There's a short break. Court is taking a brief testimony will resume shortly. Let's go back. Blah, blah, blah. Let's continue. How much? Ooh, look, this is good. Garagos questioned Jane about gifts from Diddy after she admitted she got jealous of other women receiving lavish items. "What is a Bottega bag?" Garagos asked. And Jane replies, "I'm sure you have one." And then she got attitude. And I think the judge had to kind of tell her, like, look, answer questions here. Don't start rolling eyes and getting all, whatever. "How much does a Bottega bag cost?" Jane fired back, "How much does my body cost?" Ooh, right there. Do you see what I'm talking about? This is all about transactional stuff. This is transactional stuff that's happening. Jub Submarian, speaking off mic, told her to stick to the question. Don't get an attitude, girl. Stick to the question. "I got trauma." Jane texted Diddy asking if his quote-unquote homegirl was with him, posting on Instagram while Jane felt sidelined. She felt sidelined. You're a side piece. You're going to be on the sideline. Hello, side piece, sideline. You are not on the court. She said she endured, quote, most of the pressure and now sees their relationship as a chaotic whirlwind of dark. In one text, she asked if he bought the other woman a Chanel bag, quote, even though she's been effing your friend in front of your face, end quote. And quote, instead of a Chanel bag, Jane told the jury, "I got trauma." Garagos fired back, "Did you get a Van Cleef necklace?" Oh my God. It's transactional. And she's not even hiding that it's transactional. It's transactional. After break, Jane testified her current home is 5,300 square feet, far larger than the 1,400 square foot apartment she once lived in. She also said she profited, quote, a little bit from a business Diddy invested $20,000 in. He never asked for a cut. You see, Diddy's a nice dude, investing in the young black woman entrepreneur's business. You see that? Business, houses, and headspace. Terry Garagos asked why Jane claimed she couldn't do much professionally during her relationship with Diddy. Jane responded, quote, "Had I not dove headstrong on this relationship, I probably would have been a bit more successful in that time frame, but that's neither here nor there." So as we spoke about yesterday, because this sort of came up as well, had I not been having all these dudes go through me and doing all this stuff to please Diddy and be his number one, I probably would have had a little more spare time to work on my OnlyFans account and doing all sorts of other stuff to get money from other rappers and do all sorts of things and have babies with other entertainers and things. See how much more money I could have gotten. Family shows up, but not for assault claims, blah, blah, blah. Cross-examination, hotel nights, Diddy funding her lawyer. There's some more stuff. Court adjourned, returns tomorrow. And that's really much it. That's all I wanted to get into. I wanted to go back to that and talk about the NBA nights and the whole, I'm Jordan, you Kobe, and then such will be Shaq. Very interesting stuff. There was also the cuckold comments, which we didn't get into. I didn't read that here. I don't want to get into all that, but she looked up to find out that Diddy is actually into watching, what's called a cuck or cuckold, where a man watches the wife or the girl being pleased by another man, and he's got bi tendencies or doesn't want to act on them because he might be ashamed of. But that was brought up yesterday as well, which was, at this point, I think most people don't even need to guess that Diddy's got a bit of that, sugar in his tank, and that's what that is. But it is a sensational trial, to say the least, a sensationally salacious trial, to say the least. And I still yet to make the connection between, as hard as some of the people are reporting on, people out there reporting from the courthouse, reporting live every day and giving their opinions on their YouTube channels, as much as you guys are trying to make this connection between, oh yeah, see, they got him on trafficking and they got him on sex trafficking and they got him on racketeering. No, they don't. No, they don't. This is great entertainment stuff, and it's distracting us from all the other stuff that's going on in the world and in our country with, LA on fire with riots from ICE and things happening across the globe and all the things that are taking place with Trump and this country and tariff wars and all sorts of stuff and AI about to take over, all that stuff. This is just really sensational media stuff. I mean, if this was a reality TV show, that's all this is. There is no criminal enterprise. I highly doubt. I'm going to start to put my bets towards he's going to get off. He'll probably do some time for something. They're not going to make the case that this guy was sex trafficking and racketeer. I just don't see that happening. All right. They got plenty of evidence, and we've all got plenty of reason to not like this guy. I don't think he should be able to be allowed to come back in any form whatsoever. I don't even think if he wanted to, he could. And I think he should probably do some jail time for being a scumbag and being abusive to women and treating women the way he treats women and people the way he treats them. People he can get away with treating like that, the weaker people, which is what makes him a coward and a bitch-ass Negro. So I think he should do some time, and I think he probably will. For sex trafficking and racketeering, not going to happen. And this is all going to be, like I said, this is a lot of people going to have to find new stuff to do on YouTube once this whole thing is over, because it's not going to be as exciting. Or you may not have anything as exciting as this until the next celebrity comes up, whoever that's going to be. Maybe it'll be Jared Leto this time. Apparently there are charges against Jared, not charges against him, but allegations against Jared Leto. So where there's smoke, there's fire. We'll see where that goes. Anyway, I don't want to move into another thing. Let's stick with Diddy. So today, day 21, Wednesday, June 11th, court starts at 1 p.m. I might do a wrap up again tonight, but I'll definitely do one tomorrow, Thursday morning, for day 21. We'll see what happens. Subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. Time to talk. Like the video on the way out. Comment what you think. Let me know. I can handle it. If you agree with me, you disagree with me, you think she's 100% victim and she was forced to do all this stuff, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.